The lion is not the largest animal in the jungle, nor the fastest, nor the most intelligent, yet it carries the title of king. The question then arises, what makes the lion so majestic, so commanding, that every creature recognizes its authority? It is not the lion's physical strength or its superior intellect that makes it the ruler of the wild. It is its spirit, its mindset, its inner conviction. The lion possesses an unshakable belief in its identity. It sees itself as a leader, a conqueror, and because it believes that truth, every action it takes reflects that belief. The lion's spirit is a reflection of confidence, courage, and dominion. It moves with a quiet assurance that everything in its territory belongs under its command. This confidence is not arrogance, it is awareness. The lion is aware of what it is, and because of that awareness, it carries itself differently from every other creature. When the lion walks, the jungle reacts. Every step it takes sends a message of power, and even the trees seem to bow before its presence. Not because of fear, but because of respect for the spirit that governs its movements. The lion doesn't need to roar all the time to prove who it is. Its silence carries weight. Its presence carries power. That's the spirit of the lion. A spirit that does not demand recognition, yet naturally commands it. When you understand who you are, you don't have to shout it to the world. The world will recognize it in how you walk, how you think, and how you carry yourself. When a lion looks at an elephant, it doesn't see size, it sees opportunity. It doesn't see an obstacle, it sees a meal. The difference between the lion and the elephant is not strength, but perception. The elephant, though much bigger, runs at the sight of a lion because it perceives danger, while the lion, much smaller, runs toward it because it perceives victory. This is the heart of the lion mentality. What you perceive determines what you pursue, and what you pursue determines what you possess. If your mindset is one of fear, you will always retreat. If your mindset is one of confidence and faith, you will always advance. The lion's spirit teaches that challenges are not threats, they are opportunities to prove what you carry inside. The jungle is a metaphor for life. It is wild, unpredictable, and full of challenges. In that jungle, every animal must survive, but only one reigns. That's the power of mentality. The same jungle that makes other animals hide gives the lion a reason to roar. The same world that makes others shrink is the same world where leaders rise. What separates those who rule from those who follow is the mindset they carry. You can be surrounded by difficulties, yet still walk like a king if your heart carries the spirit of a lion. Greatness has nothing to do with where you are born, your background, or your limitations. Greatness begins the moment you decide to see yourself as great. The lion's spirit is a mindset of dominion. Dominion means authority, control, and the ability to influence your environment rather than be influenced by it. When the lion walks into a place, it changes the atmosphere. In your own life, when you adopt the spirit of the lion, you stop allowing your environment to dictate your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. You begin to take control of your responses, your focus, and your goals. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a master of them. The lion spirit says, I am not subject to my environment responds to me. This is how true leaders are born, not by chance, but by conviction. The lion mentality is not about aggression, it is about confidence. It is not about domination, it is about purpose. Every move the lion makes is intentional. It doesn't chase everything it sees because it knows not everything deserves its energy. The lion doesn't waste its strength on meaningless pursuits. It acts with wisdom, precision, and focus. In life, this is the essence of power, to know when to act, when to rest, and when to roar. True power is not in constant movement, but in strategic action. Those with a lion mentality understand that power without control leads to destruction, but power with discipline leads to leadership. To develop the spirit of the lion, you must first see yourself differently. You must reject every thought of weakness, fear, or inferiority. The world will try to convince you that you are small, that you are limited, that you are not enough. But the lion refuses to believe that. It doesn't compare itself to others. It simply lives in the fullness of what it is. Comparison is the enemy of confidence, and fear is the enemy of destiny. The lion never looks at the eagle and wishes to fly. It walks with confidence because it was born to rule the ground. It stays in its lane and masters it. Likewise, when you embrace the spirit of the lion, you stop wishing for another person's gift or path. You focus on mastering your own territory, your own purpose, your own calling. The spirit of the lion also teaches resilience. Every battle, every challenge, every storm that comes its way becomes a test of strength. When lions hunt, they fail many times, but they do not quit. They learn, adapt, and rise again. The lion's confidence doesn't come from never losing. It comes from never giving up. The spirit of the lion refuses to surrender. It believes that every setback and every fall is a setup for another rise. This mindset is what separates champions from the defeated. Success is not the absence of struggle, it is the mastery of it. The lion doesn't complain about the heat of the sun or the roar of the wind. It moves with grace through every challenge, knowing that every obstacle strengthens its spirit. Finally, the lion's spirit is a call to rise above fear and mediocrity. It is a call to awaken your inner greatness. You were never created to live timidly or to hide your potential. Deep within you lies the same spirit of the lion, the spirit of leadership, of purpose, of boldness. You are born to rule in your area of gifting, to walk with confidence in your identity, to speak with authority, and to live with courage. When you discover that spirit within, your life changes. You begin to see yourself not as ordinary, but as extraordinary, not as a follower, but as a leader, not as a victim, but as a victor. Attitude is the invisible force that determines the direction of your life. It is the lens through which you see the world, the inner compass that guides your actions, and the silent language that speaks louder than words. The lion is not the king of the jungle because of its strength, speed, or intelligence, but because of its attitude. The lion's attitude tells every creature in the wild that it was born to lead. Its confidence is contagious, its presence commanding, and its spirit unbreakable. When the lion walks into a field full of animals larger than itself, it doesn't bow, it doesn't retreat, and it doesn't doubt. Its attitude declares, I am in charge. And because of that attitude, even the mightiest creatures step aside. Your attitude defines your altitude. You cannot rise higher than the thoughts you carry within. You may have talent, education, and opportunities, but without the right attitude, they will amount to nothing. The lion teaches that power begins in the mind. How you think about yourself determines how you act, and how you act determines how others treat you. The world responds not to your appearance, but to your confidence. When you walk with purpose, when you speak with conviction, when you move with confidence, everything around you begins to align with that energy. Attitude shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. The lion's power is not physical, it is mental. Attitude is the difference between a follower and a leader, between defeat and victory, between fear and faith. It's not what happens to you that defines you, it's how you respond to it. The same storm that breaks one person strengthens another. The difference is attitude. When you carry the right attitude, even failure becomes a stepping stone. The lion mentality says, I may fall, but I will rise again. That is the power of resilience that comes from a strong attitude. The lion does not quit because it doesn't win every battle. It keeps going because it believes it will eventually win the war. Attitude gives you endurance when the world expects you to give up. The lion's attitude is one of dominion. It walks as if it owns the ground beneath its feet, not out of pride, but out of confidence. It knows its identity, and that knowing produces authority. You cannot have authority in life until you first have authority over yourself. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears. The wrong attitude will rob you of power, even in the presence of opportunity. Many people miss their destiny not because they lack ability, but because they lack the right attitude. You can have potential and still live beneath your purpose if your mind is filled with doubt, insecurity, or negativity. The lion mentality teaches that before you can conquer anything around you, you must first conquer everything within you. A positive, bold, and disciplined attitude transforms ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. It gives you the strength to rise above the limitations of your environment. The lion is not concerned with the opinions of the hyenas that laugh in the distance. It does not waste time responding to criticism because it understands that focus is power. A person with a strong attitude does not chase distractions. They remain centered on their purpose. When you know who you are, you do not need to prove it to anyone. You let your results speak. The lion's silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It knows that its roar is powerful enough when the time is right. The power of attitude can turn a fearful situation into an opportunity for growth. Many people allow fear to dictate their decisions, but the lion mentality teaches you to see fear differently. Fear is not a signal to run. It is a signal to prepare. It is a sign that something important is at stake. The lion feels fear just like any other creature, but it doesn't allow that fear to control its actions. Instead, it channels that energy into focus and determination. When you face challenges with a positive attitude, you begin to see problems as teachers, failures as lessons, and pain as preparation. The right attitude transforms every experience into fuel for growth. Attitude also attracts. The energy you carry determines the kind of opportunities and people you draw toward you. A person with a negative attitude repels growth, but one with a confident and grateful spirit attracts success. The lion doesn't chase approval. It attracts respect. Likewise, When you carry yourself with confidence and humility, people will recognize your leadership without you having to demand it. The lion's strength is not in seeking validation, it is in knowing its worth. When you know your worth, you stop settling for less. You begin to walk, talk, and think like the person you were created to be. Attitude determines how you interpret life. Two people can face the same challenge, yet one sees defeat while the other sees opportunity. The difference lies in perspective. The lion sees the jungle not as a place of danger, but as a place of destiny. It knows that every challenge in the wild is a chance to grow stronger. When you develop the same outlook, you stop complaining about difficulties and start using them as stepping stones. Life does not get easier, you get stronger. The right attitude gives you strength to move forward even when you don't see immediate results. It gives you patience to wait for the right moment and courage to act when the moment comes. The lion's attitude is grounded in faith. It believes in its ability to conquer before the battle begins. That same principle applies to life. You must believe in victory before you see it. Success begins with belief, and belief fuels action. You cannot achieve what you do not first believe is possible. Your attitude is the evidence of your belief. If you believe you are destined for greatness, your actions will reflect confidence, persistence, and discipline. If you believe you are limited, your life will mirror that limitation. The lion's attitude reminds us that faith is not merely a feeling, it is a mindset. It is the ability to see the unseen, to hold on to conviction when circumstances try to convince you otherwise. Finally, attitude is contagious. Your mindset affects everyone around you. When a lion leads a pride, its confidence strengthens the group. When it hunts, its focus inspires others to move in unity. In the same way, when you carry a strong, positive attitude, you influence those around you. You lift others by your example. The way you respond to challenges gives them permission to do the same. Leadership is not about commanding, it's about inspiring. A strong attitude transforms environments, shapes relationships, and builds legacies. The lion teaches that true power is not in muscles or might, but in the mindset that commands respect, radiates confidence, and stands unshaken regardless of what comes its way. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or recognition. It begins in the mind. The lion leads not because the jungle voted for it, but because it carries within itself the mind of a leader. It doesn't seek permission to lead, and it doesn't need validation from others. Leadership is a state of consciousness, a deep awareness of identity, purpose, and responsibility. The lion thinks differently from every other animal in the jungle. And that difference in thinking is what produces difference in behavior. The lion sees itself as dominant, capable, and destined to rule, while other animals see themselves as followers or prey. What separates the leader from the follower is never appearance, it is mentality. The mind of the lion defines its confidence, its strategy, and its authority. The mind of a leader begins with vision. The lion doesn't chase every animal in the jungle, it is selective. It chooses its target, focuses its energy, and moves with purpose. That is the essence of leadership, to know where you are going and why you are going there. Without vision, life becomes a cycle of motion without direction, activity without achievement. The lion teaches that focus creates power. When your mind is fixed on your purpose, distractions lose their control over you. The lion doesn't waste its strength on unnecessary battles because it knows that energy must be preserved for what truly matters. In life, leadership requires the discipline to say no to good things so that you can say yes to the right things. A true leader does not react to everything. They respond with wisdom. The lion is not easily provoked. It observes before it attacks. It studies before it acts. Its strength is not just in its claws or teeth, but in its timing. The mind of a leader understands that timing is everything. There are moments to move, moments to wait, and moments to roar. Leadership is strategic. It is not impulsive. Many fail to lead because they act without thinking, react without reflection, and speak without understanding. The lion mentality teaches that leadership is not about aggression. It's about precision. When you think before you act, your actions carry weight. The mind of a leader is built on self-discipline. Before you can lead others, you must first lead yourself. The lion is disciplined in its instincts. It does not let hunger make it careless or excitement make it reckless. It knows that one wrong move can cost it everything. In the same way, a person who desires to lead must learn control over emotions, desires, and impulses. Leadership demands maturity, the ability to remain calm in chaos, patient in delay, and confident in uncertainty. The lion remains composed even when surrounded by potential threats because it trusts its strength and its preparation. The one who leads must learn to trust their vision, their preparation, and their inner strength. A leader's mind is guided by purpose. Every action of the lion serves a purpose, feeding its pride, protecting its territory, sustaining its lineage. It doesn't act for attention, it acts for mission. Leadership that is motivated by ego will always collapse under pressure, but leadership driven by purpose endures. Purpose gives clarity, and clarity gives strength. When you understand why you are doing something, you can withstand almost anything. The mind of a lion is not distracted by the noise of the jungle because it is anchored by mission. The jungle can be chaotic, but the lion remains stable because it knows what it was created to do. In life, your ability to stay anchored to your purpose is what separates leaders from wanderers. The mind of a leader is not intimidated by challenges. The lion never runs from a fight that matters. It faces obstacles with confidence because it sees them as opportunities to demonstrate strength. The same mindset must be present in every person who desires to lead. Leadership is not tested in comfort, but in conflict. It is in the moments of uncertainty, difficulty, and pressure that true leaders emerge. When the jungle grows silent and the night grows dark, it is the lion's roar that reminds every creature that leadership is still alive. Leadership is not about avoiding problems. It is about confronting them with courage and wisdom. The lion's mind is also one of responsibility. It understands that leadership is not about privilege, but about protection. The lion protects its pride. It takes responsibility for others. True leadership is never selfish. It is about serving, guiding, and uplifting those who depend on you. The mind of a leader carries a sense of duty. It recognizes that every decision affects others, and therefore, decisions must be made with integrity and foresight. The lion does not lead through fear. It leads through respect. Its strength inspires confidence in others. People will follow a leader not because of force, but because of trust. The lion earns trust through consistency, courage, and clarity. The mind of a leader is never satisfied with comfort zones. The lion does not live in cages. It thrives in the wild. It refuses confinement because freedom is the essence of leadership. A leader must have the courage to break away from limitations, to think beyond traditions, and to explore new possibilities. The mind that fears failure will never experience greatness. The lion mentality teaches that leaders must be willing to take risks, to face the unknown, to venture into uncharted territory. Growth happens in discomfort. Leadership is born in the wilderness, not in the safety of familiarity. The lion's mind is also marked by confidence and humility. True confidence is not arrogance. It is quiet assurance. The lion doesn't need to prove its strength. It simply knows what it carries. It walks with authority, but without pride. Leadership demands the same balance. Confidence gives you courage to act. Humility keeps you grounded. A leader who lacks confidence becomes indecisive, and a leader without humility becomes destructive. The balance of both is what sustains greatness. The lion knows its power, but also respects the order of the jungle. It does not seek unnecessary conflict, because it understands that true power lies in restraint. The mind of a leader is a mind of consistency. Leadership is not a single act. It is a lifestyle. The lion does not stop leading because it is tired. It leads because it is its nature. A leader must cultivate habits of consistency. Discipline in the morning, focus during the day, reflection at night. Leadership is built on repeated excellence. You cannot lead effectively if your emotions dictate your performance. The lion teaches steadiness. Its power is not in sudden bursts, but in sustained presence. It shows up every day with the same strength, the same focus, the same confidence. Ultimately, the mind of a leader is not shaped overnight. It is formed through trials, lessons, and perseverance. Just as a lion cub must grow through challenges to become the king of the jungle, you must develop through experience to become a true leader. The storms of life do not destroy leaders. The pressure, the pain, the setbacks all refine the mind, sharpening it into wisdom and resilience. Leadership begins in how you think about yourself, how you respond to challenges, and how you choose to influence the world around you. The lion's mind is a reminder that true leadership is not a position to be gained, but a mentality to be embraced. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. Every great lion feels fear, but it never allows that fear to determine its actions. When a lion faces a threat, it does not retreat or hesitate. It stands its ground with a boldness that commands respect. This is the power of courage. Courage is the invisible strength that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary leaders. It is the force that moves you forward when everything in you wants to step back. The lion mentality teaches that fear is natural, but submission to fear is a choice. To live with courage is to rise above your fears and act in spite of them. In the jungle, every creature knows that survival depends on instinct, but dominance depends on courage. The lion's courage is not just physical bravery, it is psychological resilience. It does not wait for fear to disappear before it moves. It moves first, and the fear disappears in the process. Many people wait for the perfect moment when they feel ready or safe, before they act, but courage does not wait for comfort. Courage moves even when the path is uncertain. The lion teaches that fear will always exist, but it loses its power when you choose to face it. Every time the lion steps forward into danger, it strengthens its authority over the jungle. Likewise, every time you step into your fears, you expand your dominion over life. Fear has one purpose: to keep you from your destiny. It disguises itself as caution, doubt, or logic, but at its core, fear is a prison that limits potential. The lion refuses to be caged by fear. Its boldness is not recklessness, but awareness. It understands that the jungle will never be free of danger, so it learns to operate in danger. Courage is the skill of moving through uncertainty with confidence. Life will never give you the perfect environment to pursue your dreams. You must create courage within yourself and move forward regardless of the challenges. Fear will tell you that you are not ready, but courage whispers that readiness comes through movement. Courage is born from conviction. The lion moves with confidence because it knows who it is. Identity produces courage. When you know your purpose and your worth, fear loses its grip. Uncertainty only controls those who doubt themselves. The lion never wonders if it can lead. It knows it was born to rule. That inner knowing gives it the strength to face opposition without hesitation. In life, when you carry clarity of identity, you stop shrinking before challenges. You no longer ask, "Can I?" Instead, you declare, "I will." Courage begins where self-doubt ends. Courage over fear is also about perspective. Fear magnifies problems. Courage magnifies possibilities. The same situation that makes one person retreat can make another rise, depending on how they view it. When the lion sees an elephant, it doesn't see an impossible opponent. It sees an opportunity for victory. The difference lies in perception. Fear focuses on the size of the challenge, but courage focuses on the strength within. Every time you face a difficult season, your perspective determines your outcome. If you view obstacles as walls, you will stop. If you view them as doors, you will find a way through. Courage turns barriers into bridges. The lion mentality also teaches that courage is not a one-time act, it is a lifestyle. Every day in the jungle presents new risks, new battles, and new uncertainties. Yet the lion wakes up every morning ready to face whatever comes. That consistency builds dominance. In life, courage is not proven by grand gestures, but by daily persistence. It's the courage to wake up and keep going when nothing seems to change. It's the courage to believe when results are delayed. It's the courage to stay true to your vision when others walk away. Fear may whisper that it's over, but courage replies that it's only the beginning. Courage requires faith. The lion moves because it trusts its instincts, its abilities, and the purpose within it. Faith is the foundation of courage. You cannot act boldly if you do not believe in something greater than your fear. Faith says, even if I don't see it yet, I know it's possible. It's the inner conviction that your future is worth fighting for. Fear paralyzes, but faith mobilizes. The lion does not wait for visible signs of victory. It believes victory belongs to it because of what it carries inside. When you act in faith, you activate courage, and courage unlocks the doors that fear keeps closed. Courage over fear is also about endurance. The lion does not always win easily. It faces failures, injuries, and moments of weakness, but it never gives up. Its courage gives it the strength to rise again. Courage doesn't eliminate failure. It transforms it into fuel. Every defeat becomes a lesson, and every setback becomes preparation for a comeback. Fear keeps you stuck in the memory of your past failures, but courage invites you to move forward with wisdom. The lion never lives in yesterday's losses. It focuses on today's opportunities. True courage means refusing to let your past define your future. The mind that carries courage also carries peace. The lion walks calmly because it knows panic solves nothing. Courage does not mean noise or aggression. It means composure. The strongest people are often the calmest in crisis because they have trained their minds to stay steady under pressure. Fear brings confusion. Courage brings clarity. When you think clearly under stress, you make decisions that change outcomes. The lion's courage gives it balance. It knows when to attack, when to retreat, and when to rest. Courage is not recklessness, it is controlled strength. The lion mentality teaches that courage and fear cannot rule together. One will always silence the other. You cannot claim courage and entertain fear at the same time. Courage demands that you choose faith over doubt, action over hesitation, and progress over paralysis. Every time you give in to fear, you strengthen its control. Every time you choose courage, you weaken fear's influence. The more you act with courage, the easier it becomes to stay bold. Courage is a muscle. It grows stronger with use. The lion does not become fearless overnight. It becomes fearless through repeated acts of bravery. Courage over fear is also contagious. The roar of one lion can awaken courage in an entire pride. When one dares to act, others find strength to do the same. Leadership and courage are inseparable. People don't follow titles. They follow bravery. When you stand up in courage, you give permission to others to rise as well. Your courage becomes a light in dark places, a signal that fear no longer controls the environment. The lion's roar reminds the jungle that authority still exists, and every creature takes notice. Likewise, when you live with courage, your presence inspires those around you to believe that victory is possible. Every great destiny requires courage. The higher your calling, the greater your confrontation with fear. But fear is only proof that you are standing on the edge of purpose. The lion teaches that fear is not your enemy. It is your signal to rise. You were not created to retreat from challenges. You were born to face them. The strength to stand firm in adversity. The courage to believe when odds are against you. The confidence to keep moving forward when others stop. That is the essence of the lion mentality. Courage does not mean you won't feel fear. It means fear will never rule your life. The lion mentality is the mindset of a king. It is the consciousness of dominion, the awareness of purpose, and the understanding of identity. The lion is not the largest creature in the jungle, yet everything about it declares royalty. It walks with confidence, not because it owns the jungle, but because it knows it belongs there. That is the essence of kingship, knowing who you are and walking in that truth. The destiny of a king begins in the mind long before it is manifested in the world. Every lion is born with the potential for leadership, but it must grow into that role through experience, courage, and discipline. Likewise, every person is born with greatness inside, but only those who awaken that potential fulfill their royal destiny. The lion's behavior reveals a deep sense of purpose. It does not wander aimlessly through the jungle. Every step, every hunt, every roar has meaning. That is the sign of a king. Intentionality. The lion's movements are not random because it understands that every action defines its legacy. A king does not live by chance, he lives by purpose. The lion mentality teaches that destiny is not something you wait for. It is something you walk toward. The destiny of a king is revealed through responsibility, vision, and mastery. You cannot lead what you have not learned to control. You cannot rule over circumstances until you have ruled over self. The lion rules the jungle because it has mastered the instincts within before it mastered the world around. To live with a kingly mindset is to recognize that you were born to reign in a specific territory of purpose. Every person has a domain, a field of influence, a space where their gifts are meant to shine. The lion's territory represents more than physical land. It symbolizes authority and ownership. A lion defends its territory not because of pride, but because of assignment. It understands that what belongs to it must be protected. The same principle applies to life. Your dreams, your purpose, your destiny are your territory. They belong to you. You must protect them from fear, doubt, and distraction. You must guard your focus with the same intensity that a lion guards its pride. When you neglect your territory, someone else will occupy it. The destiny of a king is fulfilled only when you take responsibility for what you were entrusted with. Kingship is not about dominance, it is about service. The lion leads not by force, but by example. Its strength provides safety for its pride, and its leadership ensures order. That is the nature of true authority. It serves before it demands. A king exists for the benefit of his people, not for personal gain. When you understand this, leadership becomes an act of love and purpose, not ego. The lion mentality teaches that greatness is never selfish. The measure of a true king is not how much power he has, but how he uses that power to lift others. A person walking in the destiny of a king understands that influence comes with responsibility. Every decision, every action, every word carries weight because it affects others. The destiny of a king requires the courage to stand alone. There are moments in the jungle when the lion must face threats without backup. It does not panic because it understands that isolation is sometimes necessary for preservation. Likewise in life, there will be seasons when the path to destiny separates you from the crowd. Kings are often misunderstood because their vision takes them where others cannot follow. You must learn to be comfortable with solitude, to draw strength from within rather than from the approval of others. Destiny demands separation before elevation. The lion walks alone, not because it rejects others, but because it understands that its purpose is unique. The strength of a king is not in numbers, but in conviction. The lion's destiny is rooted in confidence, not competition. The lion does not compare itself with the leopard, the tiger, or the elephant. It knows that each creature has its own strength. Comparison is beneath a king. The lion's identity is complete within itself. The moment you begin comparing your journey to others, you abandon your throne. Kings focus on purpose, not popularity. The lion teaches that every being has a unique assignment in creation, and fulfilling that assignment brings peace. When you understand your identity, jealousy disappears, envy dies, and insecurity fades. You no longer need validation because your purpose validates you. The destiny of a king is also one of vision and legacy. The lion does not live just for today. It lives to secure the future of its pride. It hunts not only for itself, but for the next generation. Leadership is never complete until it has prepared successors. The lion mentality teaches that true greatness is not about personal success, but about generational impact. The legacy of a king is built through the lives he influences, the people he empowers, and the vision he leaves behind. Every act of courage, every lesson of strength, every display of discipline becomes a blueprint for those who follow. A king's greatness is not measured by the length of his reign, but by the strength of his influence. The destiny of a king requires unwavering faith in purpose. The lion faces battles daily, but never doubts its ability to win. It knows that every conflict is part of its calling. Similarly, every person with a great destiny will face trials designed to reveal strength. Challenges are not signs of defeat. They are confirmations of kingship. The greater your purpose, the greater your opposition. But within you lies everything you need to overcome. The lion's courage is not born from the absence of threats, but from the awareness of its power. When you carry the same understanding, fear loses control. Destiny demands faith, the belief that what you carry inside is enough to conquer whatever stands before you. A king's mind is also one of order and stability. The lion maintains balance in its territory because chaos weakens authority. In the same way, when you live with the mindset of a king, you seek peace, structure, and harmony in every area of your life. You align your thoughts with purpose, your words with vision, and your actions with discipline. You understand that leadership without order leads to collapse. The lion's calm demeanor, even in the face of pressure, shows that true kings lead from within. Peace in the mind creates power in the environment. The destiny of a king is not inherited through birth alone. It is earned through growth. Every lion cub must learn the ways of the wild. It must stumble, fight, and rise again before it can claim its crown. In the same way, the process of becoming a king in life requires endurance. You must go through seasons of testing, learning, and refining. Every struggle shapes character. Every challenge develops wisdom. The throne is not given to the unprepared. It is reserved for those who have proven strength in silence, faith in darkness, and courage under fire. The lion becomes king through process, and so must you. The destiny of a king is the destiny of dominion, the ability to influence, create, and transform the world around you. To live like a lion is to embrace that destiny fully, to understand that you were never created to live small or think limited. The spirit of a king lives within every person, waiting to be awakened by vision, purpose, and courage. When you rise in that awareness, you stop existing and start reigning. You stop following and start leading. You stop surviving and start ruling. That is the true destiny of a king. The lion mentality is more than a lesson in courage. It is a revelation of identity. It teaches that greatness begins in the mind long before it manifests in life. The lion is not feared because of its size, but because of its spirit. That spirit of confidence, purpose, and dominion lies dormant in every human being, waiting to be awakened. When you think like a lion, you stop viewing yourself through the lens of limitation. You begin to see yourself through the vision of power, discipline, and destiny. You understand that leadership is not about control, but about character, not about position, but about purpose. The lion mentality reminds you that true strength is not loud. It is consistent. It is the quiet confidence that refuses to surrender to fear, the calm assurance that your purpose is greater than your problem. It is the realization that you were not created to blend in with the crowd, but to stand out with conviction. The jungle respects the lion not because of what it has, but because of what it represents: authority, focus, and self-belief. You were designed with that same royal essence. Every challenge you face is not meant to destroy you, but to reveal what's inside you. The storms of life are the training grounds of kings. They shape your discipline, sharpen your faith, and strengthen your resolve. When you embrace the lion mentality, you no longer see obstacles as barriers. You see them as opportunities to roar louder, to stand taller, to fight smarter. You stop waiting for permission to lead because you realize leadership is already within you. The spirit of the lion teaches that destiny is not given, it is claimed. You must rise each day with the heart of a ruler and the mind of a conqueror. You must speak with authority, move with vision, and live with integrity. You must defend your dreams like a lion defends its pride and pursue your purpose with relentless focus. The lion mentality is a call to awaken the king within, to live with purpose, to lead with courage, and to reign over every circumstance with wisdom and strength. When you walk with the heart of a lion, the world takes notice, not because of your roar, but because of your presence. The atmosphere shifts when you enter a room because confidence and conviction cannot be hidden. That is the power of true kingship, the ability to command respect without demanding it, to inspire others without trying, to walk in authority without arrogance. The jungle may be filled with many creatures, but only one rules it. That same spirit of dominion, vision, and fearlessness is your divine inheritance. So live boldly. Think differently. Lead fearlessly. Rule wisely. For within you lies the heart of a lion, the spirit of a king, the mindset of dominion. The world is not waiting for another follower. It is waiting for you to roar.